Hello and welcome on board. You're watching Eye on Africa. I'm Clarisse Fortuné in the headlines. Kenya vows those responsible for the deadly blast will be held accountable after a truck full of gas cylinders exploded, killing at least 3 people and injuring 280. Rached Ghannouchi is sentenced to a further 3 years in prison. The head of the Ennahdha main opposition party is convicted for receiving foreign financing. And the world united in a fight against cancer. Ahead of Cancer's Day on February 4th, we'll go to Senegal, where some treatments are given for free, while civil society raises awareness. Kenyan Deputy President said that those responsible for a deadly blast will be held accountable. Fire spread through a densely populated area of Nairobi after a truck laden with gas cylinders exploded in a depot. The late-night inferno burned homes and warehouses, killing at least 3 people and injuring 280. The death toll was expected to rise. Olivia Bizot has more.
It's a scene of devastation, of sadness and of much confusion. At least 3 people have been killed so far, but that number is expected to rise. Meanwhile, hundreds of people have been injured. Earlier, I went to the Mama Lucy Hospital, which is nearby, and that's where over 200 people were sent today, including 25 children.
I was living with 2 friends. When I woke up, I realized they had both died in the fire. I'm the only one who survived. I have nowhere to go now. I will just have to sleep outside.
I was in my home when I heard the loud blast, and so I went outside to see what was going on, and that's when I got burnt. Luckily, my children are away at boarding school at the moment. I'm homeless now. My house has been completely destroyed. I have nothing left.
A lot of Kenyans who I've spoken to today are incredibly confused, and with reason. The government has been sending mixed messages throughout the day. At first, a government spokesman said that the cause of the fire was a company that was changing its gas cylinders, and that caused an uproar among Kenyans who were raising questions over why county government officials had not been respecting the city's rules and regulations. And then the government spokesman actually said that the cause of the fire was a lorry that was carrying gas and that exploded. So amid all of this confusion and uncertainty, one thing is sure, and that's that Kenyans want answers, they want those answers fast, and they also want adequate compensation for the destruction that this fire has caused.
Still no respite in Sudan. Nearly a year on, and the number of people uprooted by the war between rival generals keeps on rising. UN High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi rallied international donors to keep their wallets open to fight the crisis, describing the situation as serious. Let's listen.
Since April 2023, so less than a year ago, 8 million people have been displaced from their homes in Sudan. 8 million. Majority inside Sudan as internally displaced, but increasingly also outside. More than 1.5 million refugees have gone to neighboring countries.
The leader of Tunisian political party Ennahdha was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Rached Ghannouchi, along with his son-in-law and the country's former foreign minister, have been convicted of receiving foreign funding. Ghannouchi was already serving a 15-month sentence for other charges. From Tunis, our correspondent Simon Spickman-Cordol has more.
Rached Ghannouchi was in prison last night following an earlier conviction for incitement. His son-in-law, Abdesalim Rafiq, was overseas after previously being convicted in an earlier case. Ghannouchi will now face a further 3 years in jail. In addition to this, the party has been fined $1.1 million as part, well, the same sum alleged to have been received as part of the foreign funding. How they will pay that back remains to be seen. Now, a statement by that party absolutely refutes the charges against Mr. Ghannouchi. Moreover, they have promised demonstrations on this street every weekend for the remainder of this month. Now, Mr. Ghannouchi's arrest takes place against a much broader and perhaps darker crackdown on dissent and criticism within the country. We've seen self-styled Islamists such as Rached Ghannouchi sentenced last night. Equally, we've seen secular politicians like Abiy Musi, the sort of firebrand of the pre-revolutionary party, also sentenced. In addition to this are crackdowns on the journalists, critics and online activists against the current regime of President Kais Saied. This took even a comical turn earlier this month when a case involving the former Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger, was accused of channeling money into the country to disrupt the local elections. We don't know where this campaign will end, but it is ongoing and it is certain to not end anytime soon.
This Sunday, February 4th, will be World Cancer Day, an initiative under which the entire world can unite together in a fight against the global cancer epidemic. In Senegal, chemotherapy, one of the treatments, is now free for people suffering from breast and cervical cancer. And civil society organizations are mobilized to increase awareness. Eliman Dao and Sam Bradpiece report.
Dr. Fatou Samba is doing the rounds at Dakar's Dalal Jam Hospital, checking in on cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy. This 28-year-old has breast cancer and prefers to remain anonymous. Her treatment here is free.
At the beginning it was difficult. Just to hear that I had this illness made me scared. But now I'm happy. I don't think I could have received treatment if I had to pay.
Fatou Samba is the head of this oncology unit, which carries out up to 50 chemo sessions per day. She says not only have treatments improved in recent years, but the taboo surrounding this illness has too.
Before, when a patient heard the words cancer or tumour, they thought they were going to die. That is why we have shared testimonies from patients that have been cured, to allow for hope.
The Senegalese League for the Fight Against Cancer organises group sessions every month to allow patients to share their feelings. The organisation also leads massive breast and cervical cancer screening campaigns.
This year we've tested more than 15,000 women. Every time we organise a screening, we ask women who normally wouldn't be interested to come and get tested. And if the tests come back positive, we help guide them through their treatment.
In recent years, new radio and chemotherapy centres have opened across the country, increasing access to treatment. Activists are now pushing to make care free for all types of cancer.
In the Central African Republic's rapidly expanding capital, sand is in high demand, but the country doesn't import the construction material, leaving sand fishers the perilous task of digging it up from the bottom of the Ubangi River. Laurent Berstecher has more.
As the sun slowly rises on the Ubangi River, Odilon Salima gears up for his first dive of the day. With no oxygen tank or life jacket, he spends minutes underwater and resurfaces with a bucket full of sand. Odilon is a sand fisher, a lucrative but perilous activity.
We risk our lives every day to feed our families. Once a gust of wind toppled our boat, all the sand fell out and one of our colleagues drowned.
Many sand fishers also suffer from respiratory and muscular issues, but all are willing to take the risk. They can earn up to 15 euros a day, more than double the average income in the Central African Republic.
It's thanks to this job that we're able to support our families and meet our needs. And with time, we've come to appreciate what we do.
All around the capital, Bangui, construction sites are sprouting like mushrooms, and sand is worth its weight in gold. Mixed with cement in order to make concrete, it's become a crucial commodity for the country's fast-expanding construction industry.
The work they do is very important. That's why we must respect them and buy the sand at a reasonable price so that they can continue to do this job.
With more than 70% of the population living on less than $2 a day, the Central African Republic remains one of the world's poorest countries.
And we leave you now with a bit of news on the Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria is the first side to book a semi-final berth after Ademola Lookman's first half goal ensured a 1-0 win over Angola in the last 8. That's it for us. Thank you for watching Eye on Africa. Stay tuned for more news.
The world is ever changing. The news doesn't wait.
France 24 gives a global perspective that an educated, intelligent, and active viewer is going to want to have to be able to fully understand the issues of the day.
That's why it will always be there to help make sense of world events.
J'ai l'habitude de suivre France 24 partout où je me trouve, et ce grâce à mon smartphone, parce que je ne reste pas souvent devant la télé.
Quand une information circule sur la toile, j'utilise l'application de France 24 pour vérifier l'authenticité.
For the best international coverage, 24 hours a day, no matter what, France 24 is with you everywhere, all the time.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.
I am Chinua Sondu, reporting from Lagos, Nigeria for France 24. Join me on all updates on Nigeria on France 24 news programs.
Chinua Sondu, one of the 200 France 24 correspondents around the world.
Versailles, Mont Saint-Michel, the Louvre are well-known stars of French heritage. But French genius and France harbours many other hidden treasures. The arts, gastronomy, architecture, as well as nature's wonders. Come along with France 24, discover France's living heritage. From young apprentices to accomplished craftsmen and farmers, to Michelin star sporting chefs, meet these people whose passion for their professions preserve and drive French heritage.
You are here on France 24 and France24.com.